11 lives lost, more than 50 injured. When will we learn? The last couple of days, as a cricket fan and as a fan of the game, it's been real tough to accept what has happened. We first of all need to accept that as a country of more than 1.4 billion souls, a massive gathering is really first of all tough to arrange in a country like this. And for cricketers, or the game of cricket where we treat our cricketers as demigods almost, it is really tough for any kind of huge amount of gathering without appropriate security. The first question that I have after this incident happened was, why was there no proper security arrangement and why was there such a lack of planning? It was reported on the media sources that Bangalore police had denied permission as well for an open bus parade. So what the RCB players and the management did was, they went ahead and cut short the open bus parade and specifically went ahead with the celebrations. Now there are a couple of things. First of all, why was there such a lack of planning? What was the specific need of holding this kind of celebration just one day or just one night after they had just won the IPL? Wasn't it supposed to be arranged in a much better way? Was the administration and the RCB management that dumb that they couldn't anticipate this kind of turnout? Because we all know what kind of a huge fan base RCB has. The people who are not from their state, like me, I am from Kolkata, but I know what kind of massive fan following RCB as a club has. Maybe the biggest in IPL history ever over the last 18 years. And this title, it clearly meant a lot to a lot of people. And the aftermath of this massive incident was that a sum of 10 lakh was announced as a compensation to the families who had lost their children. 2 or more RCB officials has been arranged, specifically one from the advertising agency and one from the event management company who were hosting these events. But as a result of this is a massive black mark in the Indian cricket history as well. This will forever remain a dark day in the history of Indian cricket fandom as well. Personally speaking, I was one of the people who went to the KKR celebration in 2014 when they won their second IPL title at the Eden Gardens. Hailing from Calcutta, I have always been a massive KKR fan, and on that day, we had this kind of a similar event at the Eden Garden Stadium. And then when we entered the stadium, we had people literally rushing towards the gate of the Eden Gardens and police lathi charging it. There was a massive chaos. You can see it in this next clip. So this is not really an isolated incident at all. And have we learned nothing from it? If I talk about it a bit more deeply as well, I think we are a very, very indisciplined country. Let's talk about something which is of a primary importance. We understand that whenever we have to host an event like this, we are dealing with a country who is so emotional about their sport, about their heroes. We almost treat our cricketers, especially like Virat Kohli, as demigods. And we are a very emotional country, but we are also a very indisciplined country. From throwing gutka or from chewing tobacco on the streets to incidents like this. I think we all remember during the COVID lockdown days, how there were various incidents where there was COVID protocols which were violated all across the country. It's not just isolated us to a single state or a single region to the country. I think from our upbringing itself, if you remember when we were asked to stand in line when we were reading in schools, right? That was the first thing that we didn't go ahead and we didn't agree with our teachers. So it is ingrained in the Indian philosophy, in our philosophy. I know that lots of people are going to get offended by this, but it is what it is. It is the truth that we as a country are a very indisciplined country and a very fragile country as well. We get emotional by our cricketers, we get emotional by everything that is happening. And if you remember, just a couple of months back when the Kumbh Mela was happening, there was a massive stampede as well where many people lost their lives. And this has not been an isolated incident at all. I often used to wonder when India used to tour to South Africa that why we didn't get stadiums where, we can have a good time, we can get some beers as well, which we see quite regularly in stadiums like Johannesburg and stadiums like Durban. But of late and with incidents like this is also another reminder that we as a country or we as a sporting nation who loves our cricket so much can never have an atmosphere in a stadium like that. We will never get an atmosphere quite like this. It is not part of the demography that India is right now. Since this incident, what has really happened is there has also been a huge amount of backlash and a huge amount of negativity that players of RCB and especially Virat Kohli is receiving on social media and by the mainstream media. The mainstream media, after the war with Pakistan, is the second thing that right now they have caught their attention. My question is, what was the players' fault? Because they were already in the stadium when this incident was happening. I do not expect them to have, the information that something like this has happened outside. And the moment that the information was passed to, this celebration was cut short. But can we really blame the players for this? Personally, I don't think so. I think we need to channelize our thoughts and our blame games to a much better and a much, to much more powerful people. I don't think that players should be blamed for it. But it is a massive irresponsible behavior of the event management companies, as well as I don't think that the BCCI and the IPL or the RCB management can rub their hands on it. Can they really go ahead and ignore that this was an incident or this was an event which could have easily been avoided if they were much more careful, if the protocols were properly followed? Were they not expecting? I heard some BCCI officials say that they were not expecting that kind of audiences on that platform. What were you really expecting? That's first of all my question. Second of all, we see huge amount of political battles every time, before elections, after elections, in any kind of political rallies. This is not an isolated incident where politics, everything in India, everything in our country is dependent on politics, right? And similarly, right now as well, the political blame game has started as well. I was hearing one incident of a heartbreaking father who is saying that please do not go ahead and cut my son's body into a couple of pieces and let me have the body. This absolutely breaks my heart. I am not from Bengaluru. I do not know the Kannada language. I do not know that. I am a Bengali staying in Kolkata. But as a cricket fan, and as a fellow Indian as well, this really breaks my heart. But the question still remains, where is the accountability? And is 10 lakh rupees really enough for the person who has lost his son or for the person who has lost his daughter? Will this be a learning incident for the entire Indian cricket and entire sports community of India as well? I sometimes wondered that will we ever get scenes of such joy, such unbridled joy after we won the 2011 World Cup or the 2007 World Cup, or just recently when we won the T20 World Cup? Will we ever get those kind of images on the streets? And if not, after this incident, if not, let it be. Because no sport, no cricket, no team is bigger than our lives.